I called my mom after we figured it out. And I was like, Mom, did you know that I was dyslexic? And she's like, oh yeah, your fourth grade teacher told us about it when you were 10. She told my mom, she said, yeah, she is dyslexic, but don't tell her that, because if you tell her that, it will discourage her from continuing to write her stories.
Hey friends, welcome to Stories Told Through You, the Flower Letters podcast.
We're Michael and Hannie Clark, and each week we sit down with our amazing community and special guests to share the real, heartfelt stories that connect us.
Grab a cozy seat.
And let's dive into the stories told through you.
Welcome to the first ever Flower Letters podcast.
This is an exciting thing that Mike's been talking about for a while, so we're excited to move it forward.
Yeah, my name is Michael Clark, and this is my wife, Hannie. We are the co-creators and co-founders of the Flower Letters. And if you're new to the Flower Letters, and we'll get into kind of what it is in a little bit later, but we tell stories through letters sent through the mail. And when people ask me what I do, I usually tell them it's something you've never heard of, but your mother's going to love, which is true. Mother's Day is actually probably one of our biggest times of the year, which we just finished. But anyway, we've wanted to do this podcast. Podcasts are really popular. We've had this idea. In fact, we bought this equipment. And Peter, who's kind of the guy over here, the man in charge, he bought the equipment. We got the equipment almost over a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
With the intention of starting, but we just never got around to it. But
we also didn't have the idea down yet, and Mike and I come up with our best ideas on walks.
Yes,
and we were on a walk just a couple of weeks ago, or not even,
a few days ago.
Yeah, just a little while ago, and we finally came up with the idea that we thought would really work with our subscribers. So we're excited to introduce the Flower Letters podcast to you and kind of tell you what it is going to be like.
Yeah, so we think that what we really want to focus on is, I think, what we're good at, and that's story.
Yeah.
And we want to tell and hear your stories. And so we'll kind of pick from members of our community, along with probably some special guests along the way. And we want to bring people on and hear their stories.
And the reason why we want to do that, and the reason why this idea came to us, is because we get so many postcards and cards and letters from our subscribers that just tell the sweetest and like heartfelt things that they're going through, and harrowing experiences that they've had. And it's just, we're all ordinary in our way, but we all have extraordinary stories to tell. And we just thought, what an awesome platform this would be to help highlight so many of those stories that we get to hear from the behind the scenes at the Flower Letters. And so,
can you hear the dogs, Peter? The dogs are in the background.
Oh, yeah.
They're part of the pod. They're part of the family. They'll make an appearance. Dookie's back here, as cute as anything. But
you'll hear the pitter patter around.
But anyway, so one of the things that I had an interesting experience a year or so ago. I was at the doctor. And I was checking out, and the woman was checking me out, and she had this Post-it note.
Not checking you out.
Oh, she may have been doing both. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, come on.
No, but she had this Post-it note that was on her computer. So usually they have things there that you want to remember. And all it said was, "Your story matters." And that got me thinking about, I think, how important each of our individual stories are for us to learn about our lives, about where we came from, where we're going, but also posterity. Not just posterity, but just people. I think it's so helpful a lot of the times to hear people's stories and to see how interesting people's stories are, because I think everybody's story is interesting. I think some people think they live a boring life. They think that they're uninteresting, but boy, when you start to dig into it, people have some interesting stories to tell. So
yeah, and one of the things that we've been able to see in the Flower Letters through our subscribers sharing the Flower Letters experience is that, especially with our Audrey Rose story, which was the first story that we ever wrote, and it's a World War II story, we were kept on hearing about people sharing this experience with their grandparents, and their grandparents were like having kind of these experiences from their own childhood living through World War II triggered, and they were able to share them for the first time with their children and their grandchildren. And that's such a special thing, because those the people that lived through World War II are they're few and far between these days. And so to be able to have that, it's like a treasure. It's to be able to share that story with your posterity of living through something so, important as what went on with World War II. So that's been a really cool thing to see how our stories have inspired people to share their own stories with their posterity as they've experienced the flower letters. And so,
yeah, that's a big part of, I think, what we do and why we do it. But yeah, we want, for our first one, this is our first one. And as is with just about everything we do, there's a saying we have that, because honestly, when we started this, there's no reference point. There was no company that was doing this, telling stories through letters. And so we kind of had to invent it. And so a lot of the times with a lot of the things, almost all the things we're doing, we say, well, let's see how it goes.
Let's just see what happens. Yep, that's it.
Let's see how it goes. And so that's the same thing with the podcast. We'll see how it goes. Maybe there's 2 people listening. Maybe there's 1 million. I don't know. We don't know.
We'll just see how it goes.
Right. So anyway, if you're listening and not watching, I've got Duke on my lap.
Yes.
He's
our
miniature
comfort dog.
dachshund. He's about as soft as a minky blanket, and he's awesome. So
he is.
He was whining in the background, and the whine said, "Hey, I need to be on this podcast."
Right.
So Zulie's just off camera, so she may make it over, but we'll see. But Doogie's kind of the whiner. He makes his way over.
he needs lots of love. That's what he is. He's a sweet little boy. Yeah.
Okay, so I think maybe we would be good to start. Maybe tell a little bit about our backgrounds. Kind of what got us to this point. And then we can tell the story of the founding of the Flower Letters and share some insights and things that have happened since then. Does that sound good?
Yep, sounds
Let's
good.
do it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's kick off with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I will just kind of keep it.
Yeah, keep it wherever you want to
short
start.
And sweet, but also
you need to start at 15.
Start at 15. Okay,
on.
15.
No, I'm just kidding.
No. Okay, well, I'll start with kind of my story that has led me to to Mike and then the Flower Letters and us together kind of here. So I've known I wanted to tell stories since before I could even write. That's just, I think it's one of my mission in life is to tell stories, and I've always known that I was going to do it. And I used to know it so much that before I could learn how to write, I used to record stories on tape recorders, on cassette tapes, just so I wouldn't forget them before I could learn how to write. So that's how long I've known.
Wait, do you remember the first story you ever wrote?
I don't know that I remember the first story I ever wrote, but I do remember that the first story I ever recorded on a cassette tape had to do with mermaids and centaurs. So
Awesome.
it really was impactful. But anyway, so I grew up in a large family. I have 8 siblings.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a little tiny town. Well, I grew up in central Utah, 2 little tiny towns. One was called Levan, and the other one was just over the mountain called Oak City. So my dad got a job across the county, or not across the county, actually, in the neighboring county. And so we moved when I was 4. So I spent most of my growing up years in Oak City, which is a lovely town. It really is. Population, I think it was about 800 when I was there.
Yeah, small town.
I think it's
beautiful.
Either shrunk or it's.
Oh, you know what? You know what? My favorite person grew up there.
Oh, you.
That was a dad joke, wasn't it?
That was a sweet joke.
It's her.
Yeah.
So, the people are laughing or they're going like this. Go, oh.
No, that was very sweet.
They're cringing a little bit. Peter's laughing. Hey, that's a good sign. All right.
He doesn't just do this on camera, just so you know. So anyway, I grew up in this little tiny town, and then I wrote growing up, and then I went to college at UVU, and I was really afraid to study English because I struggled reading growing up. I struggled with dyslexia growing up, and so I had these things that kind of stood in my way. But because of that early knowledge that I needed to tell stories, that's kind of what, and a really great English teacher in my senior year of high school. She was fabulous.
So I think your dyslexia thing is pretty interesting. Do you remember when we were first together and we sort of started to figure it out.
Yeah, we were reading scriptures.
Well, no, first it was like, the first thing was I'd be like, you'd be driving.
Oh no, I knew that for a long time.
Well,
I always knew that I
but for
struggled
me,
with.
I was like, something's, something might be going on there.
Something's off with my wife. She's got problems.
So I'd be like, make a right up here, and it'd be like, she'd go left.
No, I would get very stressed out when he would tell me to do left or right. It was more like, no, turn this way. Oh, sorry, microphone. It was turn this way rather than left or right.
So I have to go at the point and go that way.
Yeah, and for the longest time, I had a scar on my hand that I got, and I was so glad when I got the scar because I always knew that the scar on my hand was my right hand. And so that's how much that was a part of my growing up. And so anyway, I had this great...
That's pretty remarkable. Oh, sorry. Keep telling the story about how you figured it, when you learned about it, and then... I think that's pretty interesting.
Well, I think when we learned about it, I was in college, and we were married. And you had noticed that when I got tired, I would just start missing words. And I would I always knew this about myself. I just didn't know it had a name. I would start missing words, and I would be reading things backwards. And I always struggled with my P's and my Q's and my D's and my B's. Until I started learning cursive, I really struggled with that. And so anyway, we would be reading our scriptures at night, and he would be like, she keeps on missing words and sentences and all this, because I would be tired, and it would get worse when I was tired. And so we started talking, and I was taking a education class at the time because I was studying to possibly be a teacher, an English teacher. And we started learning about disabilities and that sort of thing. And that's when I was like, oh, I wonder if this is it. And Mike was also, he's much more observant than I am. He has helped me figure out a lot of things about myself that I was just oblivious to. And I say that in a really kind way. He's always kindly helped me figure out.
You're dyslexic.
You got problems. No, it's never been anything like that. But he's been always helping me to helping to make my life easier is really what it is. So anyway, that's when I figured it out, and I was like, holy cow. But thankfully, I was pretty much done with college by then, and had already gotten my English degree and was already confident in my writing skills. So it didn't stop me, because I think if I would have known earlier, it probably would have stopped me from...
Tell the story about your mom, when you called your mom and talked about it.
Oh, yeah. So when I was, I called my mom after we figured it out. And I was like, Mom, did you know that I was dyslexic? And she's like, oh, yeah, your fourth grade teacher told us about it when you were 10. And my fourth grade teacher was pivotal in my upbringing, or in my, in story writing for me. She was amazing all around. Mrs. Waddingham was her name, or is her name. She's still around. But she told my mom, she said, yeah, she is dyslexic, but don't tell her that, because if you tell her that, it will discourage her from continuing to write her stories. And I'm paraphrasing there. I'm sure it was told a little bit differently, but that was the gist of what my mom told me. And I thought, that teacher understood me very well, because it was because of the struggles that I had, my confidence in storytelling was very fragile, especially during that time in my life, but I just knew I had to do it. Mm-hmm. And so her not giving me a stumbling block was really very intuitive of her and inspired, I think. And so...
yeah, I think that's important. I mean, we're not saying this is how you should handle everyone that has dyslexia.
Oh, no, for sure
it works so well for you. And as I've got to know you over the last 21 years, I think it's part of your genius.
Oh, well, that's very sweet.
Because of the way, I think you had to train your mind in such a way, because it's not like you're cured of it.
Well, no, I did have to learn how to work really hard. And when you are a writer and you're serious about it, learning and knowing how to work really hard is absolutely it's key, because genius can only get you so far. That magic that some storytellers just have can only get you so far. But if you can't sit down and just crank it out, no matter how much you don't want to, then you're not going to get very far. So
yeah, and if you guys haven't ordered the flower letters or seen what we've done, what Hannie has done in the last 5 years for the flower letters is a miracle. It's remarkable. It's unbelievable what you've produced. It really is. And when you look at how many stories, how many pieces, the kind of the creativity that went into it, it's really amazing. And so I think that that willingness to just get in and work hard is like, one of the best things about you. When I'm like, where's Hannie? He's been working forever. I'm like, oh, that's her. But no, I think that's one of the best things that I think, sets you apart and really has enabled you to do that. So,
well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
The
other piece of that puzzle, though, of like with the flower letters and where it is today, Mike does not get enough credit about this. He is one. The idea was his initially to start the flower letters. That was his idea, but he is the business guy behind this vehicle, and that's the thing is he.
We'll get there.
I know, but I just want to make sure that people know that because I don't. You're so sweet, and you're always like, and Hannah is this and this, and I just want people to know. I know that this would be going nowhere if it wasn't for Mike.
Oh, that's
absolutely true. Because I tried for a long time without his help.
You make awesome stuff that is not easy to sell, but we make it happen. People love it. I mean, it's not necessarily easy to sell, but when people get it, they open it.
They get it. Yeah,
they love it.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. That makes selling and putting it in front of people. Our claims are legit. 100%. We believe in it. Yeah. Like this product and what we do. It's like at our core of our motivation and what we do. And so we put everything we have into it.
Yep,
so
that is true.
So keep going on your story. We'll keep going. This is a long form podcast. If you guys, Peter's gonna be here for 4 hours.
So get comfortable.
No, I was kidding. No, well, we want it to be longer form. We're not adhering to any sort of time, but we want to get stories and really have an interesting conversation, hopefully, and we hope you'll continue to keep listening. And because we'll get into the flower letters, I'll tell them a little bit about my background, and then we'll talk about how we met, and then some of our journey together, and then we'll get into the flower letters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I think you were at college.
I graduated from college, and then we very rapidly had our first son. I was pregnant in my last semester of college with our son, and he came early. He came 2 months early, and it was really scary, and not what I was expecting for new motherhood. And there was no preparation, so that was a pretty intense experience. Absolutely worth every single moment of it, but very intense. Yeah. And so when Sam was born, our son, he had to be in the NICU for a while, and then he had to be kind of under Billy lights because he was having jaundice and bilirubin problems. And so he slept for a lot of the hours of the day and night. And so there was a lot of time on my hands, and I was going stir crazy pretty much because I had just gone from super busy, working almost full-time and college full-time to being a stay-at-home mom. And that is quite a life change, as many of our subscribers probably know from their own experience. But that was the first opportunity that I had, really, though, where I had all this time on my hands to really see if this feeling that I was meant to tell stories was real and if I could really make it happen. And so that's when I started writing. My first book was while Sam was sleeping under his it looked like a little coffin. It was so sad. It was like this little
yeah, a huge head. It was so
suitcase.
Funny. You got this picture of it.
No, don't.
No, it just made it look like a bigger head because he had the thing around. Remember the halo?
Oh, the light. Yeah, I do remember the light.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyways. He was
cute.
Darling and tiny, and just seeing him in that little...
It was a suitcase.
Anyway, it was a little suitcase that we had to put him in. So that was a bummer. Not a bummer. I mean,
it's hard.
Anyway.
It was hard. Well, we didn't know anything different. We're like, this is how every kid goes?
Yeah, we didn't know anything different. But there was no preparation for that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started writing, and that's when I started writing my first book. And it was not easy. It was really, really hard. I don't want to discourage anybody, but for me and my dyslexia and all the other things going on in my brain and life, it was really difficult. And so it took me about, Sam was about 5 years and about 11 drafts of that story. So I had this big stack of cases of drafts, and then the stack of them on top of the cases, when I finally got to a point to where I was like, okay, I think that I can do this, and I think that here is a story that actually looks like a story and makes sense. And from there, that's kind of what I did. I was a mom, and then in my free time, I was a writer, and then we had our little girl. We had our little girl about there's 9 years between our two kids, and we had struggled a lot with infertility and stuff, and so that also gave me a lot of time that I didn't realize I would have to learn how to write. And so when she came along, though, I am very allergic to a hormone that every woman has in her body called progesterone. Like, it is not my friend. And my daughter was threatening to come early like my son, or we were threatening to miscarry her, actually. And so I had to be put on progesterone in order for my body to keep her. And so when she was finally born, she was able to go full term. Everything was great. But afterwards, I got very, very sick because of all of that progesterone that I'd had going into my body, for like really high levels of progesterone for 9 months. And so when we had her, I got very, very sick, and my ability to write just stopped. It was a very dark, difficult time. She was this lovely ball of sunshine, and she was like the greatest joy during that time. And I loved every minute of my mothering time with her. It was so great. The other times were really, really dark. While she was sleeping was really, really dark. And so in order to kind of like get through this time where I couldn't write, because writing was so much a part of me, kind of getting through hard times. I'd always written to kind of get through hard times. I started doing art, and that was my first time really doing anything art-wise. I drew stick figures before that. And so I spent the next, 6 years learning how to do art. I started selling paintings after I got good enough for people to actually want to buy anything that I was making. And then...
well, I'll tell you, we had this, everybody bought, she sold every one of her paintings because they were really good. And to the point where, I remember we were going on a date, and you had just finished a painting, right? And you put it up, and, 2 hours into our date, you check your phone, like, Mike, nobody's bought my painting yet. Do you think it's good? And I was like, man, it's been 2 hours. Like, some people don't sell paintings for years.
See, he's always great with
it was sold by the end of the night.
Yeah, he was very, very sweet.
So you can, I don't know, maybe we can show some of those paintings at some point, but I just saw one at my sister's house. It's one of the biggest, big ones you did. So it was 3D florals. And so the flowers is really, that's a big part of kind of
flowers made
what we're doing here. So as well. So
yep, for sure. The flowers were a big part of the art that I finally resonated with, but also part of like just kind of what got me through that hard time. I mean, we planted tons of flowers in our yard, and I was painting flowers, and they were kind of just this symbol of like hope and a light at the end of the winter. There's going to be some beauty at the end of the winter. And at the time, I had no idea, like, it seemed like the craziest thing to do art, because I had spent all that work and all that time working on writing. And so to make this like, left-hand turn into art seemed crazy, but I just felt really compelled to do it. And thankfully I did, because 6 years later, was it 6? Addie was 6?
Yeah, it was 2020.
Yeah. So 6 years later, we started the Flower Letters, and I had the skills that I needed to do this unique storytelling. Because I also wasn't just doing art, I was also being extremely creative. Like, I tried everything creative you can think of, and it was just like this compulsion in me to do these things. And so we have all these little crafts that go into the letters are all from that time that I was taking to just really learn. And so...
Well, I could have probably gone off on a lot of tangents when you're telling your story, but I think that's good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're just seeing how this goes, I think.
I'm sure pieces of our story will come in as we go along.
We could probably dig in. This will be 10 hours long, but anyway. I guess I'll go.
Yep.
I'll tell my story. So I grew up in a town called Belmont, Massachusetts. So different world than Oak City.
Very different world.
But something that's unique about us is our siblings are married to each other. So my brother married your sister,
Yep.
and we met for the first time at their wedding. And I was like 14,
I think you were 15.
15. And you were
14.
madly in love with me from
From the
beginning,
moment.
the beginning. And I was just like, whatever.
No, well,
No, I didn't have, I mean, we're just kids. I don't think there was any sort of interest there. Was there from you?
well, our brother and sister, your brother and my sister, they had been teasing me for a long time
right.
before the wedding, and so
Yeah.
I was really nervous. And but when you got there, I was like,
Say, he's not that great.
I mean, I was not little. I was young, and I had boys that I was interested in my hometown, and the idea of a guy from Boston, I was like, that's
Yeah.
probably not going to work out anyway. So,
So I grew up in a family of there's 7 of us, and growing up in Belmont, Massachusetts, I love Boston. I love Boston sports. It's a great kind of upbringing. I don't think I was ever like stories never crossed my mind. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think I was going to live past 18. It's kind of where I was as a kid.
just seems so far away.
I get it, but I didn't really see beyond until I got till a little bit later in life, because it was sort of like, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, sports, food, girls, that's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call myself like a dreamer or anything like that, or when I was a kid, but I am now. I mean, I became so. When I was 19, I started a mission for our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in British Columbia, Canada. So I spent 2 years there, and it was amazing. We probably spend more time on that, but just a fantastic experience for me, and really transformative, I think, for me, upping my game to match Hannie.
Well, we kind of have to back up for a second.
Okay.
Because
yeah. All
so
right.
so when I was 16 and Mike was 17, my sister and his brother invited me to come out and live with them for a summer.
Right.
And originally I was going to go to Minnesota, but they ended up moving to Boston that summer, and so they asked me to come to Boston. And that was the first time I really really looked at Mikey, and I was like, he's really cute. And I thought, even in my journal, I like Michael Clark, or Ralph is his nickname.
Yeah.
So I was like, Ralph
That's a whole story.
has the sweetest smile I've ever seen. And, he's, and I thought he was really cute, but I didn't know this. He was extremely shy. And I thought that he was stuck up. I thought that the reason why he was like being so offish is because he thought that I was just a nerd from a little tiny town in Utah. And so I was like, oh, well, whatever. But
I was shy.
he was really shy.
I was shy.
I think if I'd known that, things would have gone differently, but it's probably good that I didn't know it.
Yeah. Well, I was shy. I mean, it's weird though, because you wouldn't think I was shy, but I was shy. It was like I'd get an anxiety attack when my dad asked me to order pizza.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, hey, call Greg's and order pizza. I'd be like, what?
But we have that in common.
It'd be
though.
like
I was
30
the same
minutes
way.
later, like, Mike, did you order the pizza? I'm like, oh no. Why did you order the pizza? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the people in Boston are a little more, straightforward with and so you call Greg's and they're like, what do you want? And you're like, oh, just hang up. It's not quite Soup Nazi from Seinfeld, but, I wouldn't have it any other way. I learned,
Yeah, that's great.
they're amazing people in Boston, fantastic.
Yeah, you know exactly where you stand with people in Boston, which for me is fabulous. I really love that.
Yeah, tell you exactly what they think, which is great. Some
Yeah.
people don't like it, but
But if you're constantly wondering where you stand with people,
yeah,
it's great.
Good. It's good. Anyways, yeah, so yeah, I was shy, but we did, and I really wasn't that interested in Hannah. I thought she was really pretty. I think all of her sisters they're gorgeous. Hannah's the most gorgeous one.
Oh, stop.
Anyway, so yeah, I served my mission, and I came back, and at that point, while I'm on my mission, it's a transformation for most people that go, the men and women that serve, and it really sort of gave me vision beyond 18, 19, 20, 21. I think I came home when I was 21. I turned 22 right after I got home. And so I started to really try to decide, all right, what's the kind of person that I want to marry, and who's the kind of individual that I'd like to date or to get more interested in. So right after I got home, I was at John and Deb's, our brothers and sisters, their house, and your sister played a video of you singing. You were wearing a red dress, and you're singing. What was the name of the song? Was it from?
Oh, it was. I can't remember. Big Time or something like that. It was just a Broadway show. I was in a pageant, so.
Yeah, she was in a pageant, and for Miss Utah, and
No, it was Miss Millard.
Miss Millard.
Which would eventually go on to Miss Utah.
Oh, okay. And you won. Not you,
I
Miss
did
Utah,
win.
but
I
Miss
did
Millard. Anyway, so I saw the video, and I remember vividly. That's the kind of person that I'd like to pursue and date. And it was you, Hannie, and I was like, and then I couldn't stop thinking about you.
Oh.
I couldn't get you out of my mind the whole time. And I went to my mom. I was like, Mom, I can't stop thinking about Hannah. And my mom was like, good. We love Hannah.
Oh, yeah.
So my parents knew her.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time at Mike's house when I lived back there at 16.
Anyway, when from there, I was going to go out. This was about October, and I was going to come out to Utah to go to school. And I was going to go to UVU. I had gone to Utah State before my mission, but decided to transfer to UVU. And nothing transferred from Utah State. There's no credits. There was one semester of some forgettable grades. Anyway, call it transfer. I transferred, no grades. Anyway, so I did that, and I went to Deb, and I was like, I think I'm gonna take a look at UVU, and I think she suggested to go and have you show me around. It's like,
Of course she did.
and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Okay, sounds good, cool. That's a way in. Like, I don't need someone to show me around UVU. You just walk in, and walk around, and you listen to him. Is this building? That's that building. There's that. But I remember I was like, this could be my chance,
And of course,
or not my chance, but like I'm interested to see her and just kind of see where it goes. So I remember, did I call you or email you?
Deb actually asked me.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
didn't
she kinda
talk
set
to you
it up.
until after it was set up.
You almost pawned me off on some of your friends.
I did. I asked and this is the reason why, just in my defense, it was because I had been teased about him like for the entire 7 years that our siblings had been married.
Yep.
And I wasn't about to get roped into something. Through that, I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm done with the teasing. And so I asked all of my friends, any of my friends, can you please show this guy around UVU? And I'm so glad that none of them could.
If that had happened, I would have canceled. It's like, I don't need to show me around UVU.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get to. I remember seeing her. You came in. You had a kind of a burgundy shirt that had a J on it. Your hair was darker. And we walked around UVU, and I didn't care about UVU, but you did show me around. You kind of showed me some things, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I mostly wanted to talk to you. And we had fun. We laughed, and it was cool. It was good. And I think at the end, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
At the end of it, I was like, I want to spend more time with her. I had something going on that night or something, and I was like, I think I remember saying, hey, I was going to go do this with my friend, but I'd rather be with you.
And that was a very key moment for me. Like that moment where he was going to give up time with his friends to hang out with me was like, I'm in. I'm totally in.
And now, granted, this is 4 hours, I think, into our
Yeah, we hung out for quite a while.
our dating, our courtship or whatever. Anyway, so where do we go? Applebee's?
Yeah, we went to Applebee's after. Well, you came to my work to pick me up at the mall. I worked at the mall in a wedding dress shop. Yep. And that was another reason why I was like, this guy, because he was willing to walk into a wedding dress shop and come and pick me up. It was with all the other guys that I dated beforehand.
Oh,
all of the other guys.
What's wrong with those guys? That's where all the girls
they
are. What are you
wouldn't even
doing?
come near the wedding dress shop. They were like freaked out. And he just walked right in like, hey, I'm here. And I was like, okay, this is okay. Here we go.
Yeah, all right. That was easy. I didn't think it wasn't hard. Just wedding dresses, I guess.
Yeah.
So we went, and I remember another key thing. I remember I wasn't there when there was a time in Boston where I think I was going to take you to a Red Sox game, and
Oh,
I
yes.
didn't. I sort of like kind of dogged you on it.
That was during the summer I was 16.
Yeah, I was, kind of oblivious a little bit. But I remember, feeling bad about it. And then I remember at dinner I said, "I'm sorry about that." I was like, "I apologize for not being nicer and a better friend when you were back there."
That's what you said. And I didn't even know I was holding it against him until he apologized.
Yeah,
And
me
then I was
neither.
like, oh, okay. And then like this block between this wall just kind of moved out of the way, and then
Yeah,
started looking at you a little bit more differently.
a little different. So from there, we parted. Did we see each other the next day? I don't remember everything there. But
You stopped by before you went back home.
okay, yeah. And then I went home, went back, and I think we wrote some emails.
Yeah, they wrote some great emails.
I don't know. Do you want to read? Do we still want to read some? Or no?
Well, I don't know. Do we have time? I'll just give a summary of why these were so important. So, Mike, I have always been a huge fan of deep thoughts, like
Jack Handy,
deep thoughts, like the nonsense humor. And in the first couple of emails that Mike sent me, he gave me his own version of Jack Handy deep thoughts, and I was like, this
Let's
guy.
read them.
I tried to
even
look
remember
for him,
what
and
they
I couldn't find them.
Are they not
But,
in here?
yeah, I don't know if they made it in order. I think it would take me a minute to find them, but they were about penguins and the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah, I think
So-
it was like just random stuff where I think the thought was picture the Kool-Aid man.
yeah.
Penguins jumping inside and swimming inside of him.
But the important thing
That's how
about
my
it,
brain works. It's kind of weird.
well, it was like the first time we hung out though, when I showed you on GVU, and then those deep thoughts, I knew that if I married this guy, we weren't getting married yet, but like I knew this guy would be tons of fun to be married to. Like he would make me laugh all the time, and laughter for me was a huge deal in marriage, just because I take myself so seriously. And the whole time we hung out, when he was showing me around UVU, I was laughing my head off the whole time. Like he was hilarious, and that was
was
really
fun.
that was
Yeah.
really important to me. To
Yeah.
be able to, and it wasn't like it was like good humor. It was like light humor. You know, it wasn't nothing to be uncomfortable about. It was all really genuinely funny stuff.
Good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, so we did that, and then I remember emailing you a little bit, and then I came out again, I think, to move in or somewhere. I came out again later that November, I think, and that's when things started happening.
Yeah. So when the first night that we hung out, when we went to Applebee's, I went home and I wrote in my journal that I thought that I was possibly going to marry Michael Clark,
This is like
and it
4
scared
hours.
me. It scared me a lot. But then I talked to Deb, my sister that's married to his brother, the next day, and she's the one that told me. She's like, "Hey, just so you know, I don't want to freak you out or anything. I just want you to keep an open mind." She's like, and that's when she told me that what you had said to your mom, that you were thinking about me, and I was like, "Oh, so he's not here?" Like, because I mean, you know, you date in college, and you know the guys that are playing games, and whatever. And I was done with games by that point. And that's when I was like, oh, he's not playing games. Like he's really serious. And so
I'm of
for
the
me, that's-
mindset, I mean, don't mess around.
Yeah. And I was done with
Be
all
honest.
that. So.
If you like them, keep dating them, But I knew, like, I was like, this is her.
Yeah.
This is her.
I
And
knew too.
I kind of knew. And I could have, like, bled it out for a few months.
Yeah.
But I was like, why mess around?
Well, we already knew each other's families really well. Like I'd spent so much time with your family. I knew everybody in his family so much better than I knew you, and loved them all. And that was a huge thing that scared me about getting married was the in-laws. I was like, well, they like me, but I already knew all these guys and I loved them so much, and so that was really a blessing for me.
So we'll fast forward a little bit. Anyway, we got together. We knew we were going to be married probably in December.
Yeah, it was really
We
faster than
both
I
had
believe.
that. We kind of had those talks so that when I did propose, it wouldn't be rejected. I proposed on January 6th. Is that right? I think
January
6th.
5th.
5th? Okay, yeah, January 5th. And we were married May 8th. So we've been married for 21 years. So
And it's been really great 21 years.
awesome. Yeah.
Very good.
I think looking back, 21 years of awesomeness,
And it gets better. Just keeps
hard
getting-
stuff.
Yep.
really hard stuff, but just really good things too. I think mostly awesome stuff. And
Yeah.
you're my best friend.
You're my best friend
We're
too.
business partners, which I guess is strange to like really like your wife that much to want to be her business partner or like your husband that much.
Well, but we talked about it like 15 years ago. We talked about possibly working together, and that was kind of like the dream out in the future of how are we going to make this happen. And we had no idea at the time, but that was just kind of put out in the ether. And this is kind of how it ended up working out.
Lots of steps, and we won't go through all of that, but in our story, because we'll be here. We will be here for hours. We'll be
for
here
21
for a long time.
years.
Yeah. 21 years of marriage. There's a lot of stuff.
Yep.
But we want to kind of get to the flower letters. Anyway, so my career sort of took some interesting turns. I worked in fintech. I worked in healthcare financial services. I did some, movie production for a little bit. Kind of interesting things. I did an MBA. I knew I wanted to I really enjoyed business. I did not like school. So I got through my undergrad as fast and easy as possible. But I had another experience that I felt that I needed to get an MBA. So I went to BYU and got an MBA. And
while he was working full time.
Working full time, school
intense.
full time. Yeah, that's intense. Well,
But totally worth it.
spend a few hours in that year. 2 years. But no, that was actually that was a really good time for us and our family. That was really good. Great blessings there. So anyway, fast forward to 2020. I was working on a startup in fintech.
And we just sold everything to
Yep.
start the startup.
We kind of just to step back, sold our home, moved into a townhome. Kind of made a hard choice, like what we wanted to invest in this future. And Hannie was just still doing her art, just kind of focusing. We're just working and working as hard as we can, working on our family, keeping our kids together. Then the pandemic hit. The business that I was working on, there started to be lots of pivots, and I think we had a great product, great ideas, but the pandemic kind of caused a lot of different pivots and things like that.
Yeah.
And so now, the flower letters, how it was born, and where it came from, how it happened. So we were going for a walk.
Well, we were.
This was in March or April, right?
No, it was April, but it was after everything started shutting down and the gym shut down, and that was a big part of Mike's routine. Our entire marriage and so my way of keeping things going and making sure that he kept going was, okay, let's go out and do runs or walks or whatever, and just keep you active.
Runs. Whew.
Yeah.
So like all the runners out there, give you credit. I haven't gone on one run that I was like, that was great. We had a lot of runs.
It takes a special breed. Yep.
I'm not knocking it because I understand it. I get it. I know a lot of people that are marathoners and they love it. They enjoy it so much. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
I do like walks.
I do too. They're great.
Anyway, but yeah, so we went on a walk, and at that time, I think, Hannie, you were thinking about trying to build your online presence. You were doing a course on pattern design. And
Bonnie Christine, I'm going to send out a plug for her. She's
awesome.
Totally worth it if you wanted to take a course.
Yeah,
totally
it's
worth
fantastic. She's great.
Sorry.
But then we were talking. I think you had an idea to, someone signs up for your email list. What if I send them a letter?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a way to build up my subscribers, a clientele, and that was the way is to send out flower letters, kind of a deal. But they were going to be like individual love letters.
Yeah.
So.
And then on that, it hit me, and I said, the idea came pretty much all at once. How we're going to do it, I didn't know.
We're just going to see what happens.
I said, what if you wrote a story and sent it to them through letters?
Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a terrible idea.
But I couldn't get off it. I thought of World War II immediately, and I think you thought of World War II immediately, historical fiction, and bringing that, because you look back in World War II, letters were everything to these soldiers, to the people at home. You found out your child was dead through a telegram. It's unbelievable, the anticipation, and you go into the dread, but also the anticipation, the excitement of getting a letter. And that all came at the same time, because when I was on my mission, letters were everything. Yeah. We didn't have email at that time, and you were waiting for a letter. I was like, man, that could be so interesting. And so if we wrote a story, we at that point it was like, what if we wrote a story? And we sent it to people over time, and then that anticipation, getting the story, you're sort of eavesdropping on a story, you're experiencing it with them, and there's a little bit more you can do with things you can put inside the letter. I thought of telegrams, but anyway, so the idea sparked. Then we talked about how often should we do it. We talked about that. Came out down to probably twice a month for 12 months, 24 letters, and
yeah. Well, and just to pause there for a second, I didn't think it was a terrible idea initially. Like the idea, the thing that I thought was terrible is trying to fit a story into 24 letters. That was the thing that I was like, having written books and knowing how difficult it was to put in all the pieces, I was like, that's impossible. But then we talked more about kind of like, expanded a bit. And I really loved this book, and plenty of people have heard of it, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Pill Pie Society book. And I'd listened to it while I was doing art like 5 or 6 times by that point. And so as he was saying the idea and I was starting to kind of warm up to it, that's kind of what came to my mind. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we could do telegrams, we could do letters, we could do newspaper articles, and then I started to think, okay, this is possible. If we're able to tell a mixed media story, and I'm a mixed media artist, so that made a lot of sense to me. It was like, okay, we can use all these different kinds of pieces to put a story together in a really unique way. And that was very exciting to me.
Yeah. And so so the original, let's just kind of give you guys a little insight. The original was, I was going to write a letter. You wouldn't know what I wrote. Right. You were going to get it and respond.
Right.
We tried one.
No, you wrote 2. The first 2 Charlie letters are based
on
Mike's original.
Hey, sweet.
And they're not that different than what you wrote. They're a little bit different, but not too much. The voice is very much your voice, I think.
Yeah, so we did that, and then it became apparent that Hannie is just a way better writer.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was that you just had 0 time, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because you were working, the startup was like, I mean, he'd come home at like 2 or 3 in the morning some nights from doing that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to take over here. So.
Not for the faint of heart. If you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, I got some advice for you. Anyway. Yeah. No, but yeah, so we did that. The time was a constraint. So you just kind of went to work and started doing it.
Thankfully, I just finished that course, because that was what taught me how to use all the software to make it all happen, and to convert my painted flowers into digital flowers to start putting them on. And it just kind of opened so many doors for me. And to think I almost didn't do it because I was so worried when the pandemic hit I was going to cancel because everything was shutting down. But I went through with it anyway.
It was important to keep doing it. Yeah.
But we started with 33 subscribers.
Yeah, we launched in August. Started mailing in August
we launched in June.
June.
And started taking subscribers.
Okay.
And then we mailed out the first time in August.
Yeah. So we started mailing 33 letters out initially, and I think by the end, so if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to start a business, here's some advice: don't tell your friends and family. Yeah, that's true. They're not your customer.
But they really want to support you.
Your mom's going to buy 30 of what you do, or 100, but she's not your customer. Anyway, so I thought it was important that we do it organically. Our family knew because we had an Instagram and things like that. But anyway, so we launched it, and these random people signed up, 33 people. And then more people signed up.
And then our family started signing up.
I was like, oh, other people are doing this, I'll do it too.
Which is nice, really kind of them.
No, they did. They signed up, and
I think your dad might be one of our...
Yeah, he was one of the first ones, yeah. First
best marketers.
Yeah, so we signed up those first 33. We met Ethan Ferguson.
Yeah, Ethan's great.
The wizard.
He was so we went from 33 subscribers, and then we went down to 15 subscribers the next month, and then Ethan came on, and then we just the first batch was 33, second batch was. Yeah.
But one of the hard things that we decided to do is we could have started and just done one letter a month, right? So everyone starts, we do one batch, and they get there, we only do one. But then I was like, there's no success in that. You got to be able to sign up everybody every single day and start them on letter number one and get them the letters in order. And so we created the system to figure that out. But a big part of getting the everything, the traction going, was Ethan came in and we just started like fooling around with ads. He proposed. He's like, hey, I was like, hey, I was consulting at a company and he worked there. We just got to talking. And he was a sharp kid. I mean, I think he was 18, something like that. Anyway, he told him what we were doing, and he was technically savvy. He's like, you ever done Facebook ads? He's like, I'm like, you want to try some with us? And he's like, sure. So he came in, and he saw the opportunity because people were signing up for this, and we invested in a course on it. And by the end of that year, we had a few thousand people that we had signed up. And Hannie and I and Sam and Peter actually is our engineer here. He works for us those years ago. Stuff in letters. We started at our dining room table in our townhouse.
And we started with we started with one printer that I was printing off all the envelopes, and then we got another printer to handle it.
Getting these printers there. But yeah, I remember that. That was.
And then we started hiring little neighbor girls to help us stuff things. And
we pay a little bit to do it, but we're just trying to figure it out. And then I think by early that year, we went into a shop. We hired a manager to come in and more people. We started hiring employees. And I think at that point, you were working on the next story.
Was that? Yes, I think I was.
Working on Lily Clara. So we knew we wanted to tell more stories.
Yep.
But through that time, something that was a really important, pivotal, I think, for what we were doing was, at least for me, because I was consulting and I was working on a startup and had this whole other kind of career track. But what ended up happening is people started to just write us these letters and telling us the impact that this was having on their life.
Which we never anticipated that part of this.
Someone wrote us and said, I put it on my bedstand and, it's seen me through.
Yeah. And the important thing about that is, it's like Mike says this, and like I firmly believe it. If you don't get the flower letters, it's not for you. That's just the thing. It's something that when you get it, though, you get it. And the reason why I think is because when I'm writing the flower letters, I'm writing to myself when I was in that really dark time after my daughter was born. Like that time where I had to isolate myself from people because I was just so sick emotionally, like as well as physically. I had no energy. It was like this very isolated place. And with the pandemic that had just happened, where so many people were so isolated, and I remember feeling during the pandemic, I felt like, oh my goodness, everyone is experiencing what I've been experiencing for the last 10 years. And I just finally felt like, okay, I know how to get through this. I know how to do this. And so a lot of my choices with the flower letters were like, what would I have wanted to receive when I was in that place? And that was just instinctive for me, really. But when we started to get the stories back that Mike's talking about, of people talking about how this was kind of like, that was my thing to look forward to. I couldn't wait to get that letter that got me through this hard thing. Then I was like, okay, this is a lot more meaningful than we thought that it was going to be. This is much more than letters.
I remember asking, like, what did we create? And like, if this is having this kind of an impact on people, like, I started to feel an obligation. I got a responsibility to put our best foot forward to make this happen for as many people as we possibly could. And it takes a lot of energy to write something and share something that personal and deep. I mean, people who tell us deep things, like harrowing things that they're going through, like sicknesses, illness, and they're sharing their story and just thanking us for creating this so that they have something to look forward to. And we really took that to heart. I did. And so in January, I resigned from everything else I was doing and focused on this.
And I was so excited and relieved because it was growing.
It was growing fast. Yeah, I had a lot of people sign up, and we grew fast on purpose because, one, we felt I think, the need to get it to as many people as possible. So we reinvest just about everything that comes through from a revenue standpoint in growth, in getting this out to people, and I still feel like we've only scratched the surface. And so we've got, at this point we've got Audrey Rose, which is World War II, Lily Clara, which is 1880s Wild West, which is fantastic, by the way. It takes place in Frisco, Utah. Anyway, we'll get into that.
We visited that place. It's very cool.
It's very cool. Then we've got Adelaide Magnolia, which is our most popular story, Regency, which is sweet and fun.
I think Jane Austen.
Yeah. And then we've got Nora Avon, which is phenomenal. That's the book or the story that's been part of our marriage for 20 years.
Yeah, lots of time. That's the one that I originally started writing, but it has, in my opinion, has worked so much better.
Yeah.
In this form.
And then there's Orchid May, which is totally fun. Think Nellie Bly meets Indiana Jones, I guess. Lots of fun artwork and things in there. And then we're working on another one, not ready to discuss yet, but
but it's coming.
It's coming. Another one coming. We try to do one historical fiction a year, and so that's where we're at. And so I think as of today, I think we've almost mailed 3 million letters over the last 5 years, and I really still feel like we've just scratched the surface in terms of the impact. And one of the things, when we're starting this, people were like, oh, kind of, it's a pandemic business. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. The pandemic ended and we actually grew more. And it, it makes we get to do there's a lot of gifts because people, I think they see it, they get it. And like Hannie said, there's people that early on, they're like, I think bloggers and, book reviewers would be like, hey, can I review it? And I'm like, it's not really, I can't really just send you could review a story, but like this is an experience.
Yeah, it's hard to.
And so we're not a story, we're not a book company. We're not a letter company. We're an experience company with a product that are letters that enable this experience. And so there's 4 things that I think we kind of developed and decided are our mission, the core pillars of what we do, that we stick to, that we look at everything we do, including this podcast, and not just for our customers or readers, but for our employees. There's 4 pillars that we kind of stand on. The first is bringing you joy. The second is enriching your mind. Joy is, that's life. Like we're here to have joy. And if we could be a part of that and having joy in the anticipation, we'll do it. Enriching your mind. The historical fiction, we have a learn section. We decided that was important to do early on because we love history and we love, keeping it alive. And it's kind of sad to hear how many kids are not learning history.
Yeah. Well, the other thing and this is something we try and put as much actual historical things in the letters that we can to give people like a piece of history to hold. That's something that you don't get in a history class, so it's been really fun.
But it's like, it's a fun thing. You can make history fun, but we're not by no means the experts. We're not Ken Burns, we're not spending 10 years making these films and these stories like Ken Burns, which is, I think he's coming out with a new one here pretty soon.
I don't even know who that is.
The documentaries. He's like on PBS.
Oh, I didn't know
the Civil War. he's got all. I think the one's coming out on the Revolution actually.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
exciting.
I think. But he spends years on these things. He becomes an expert and really does a great job. But the design is to spark your mind. I'm like, wow, I'm so interested in that. I'm curious about D-Day. What happened, right? And then you go find we give you some sources, but you go find some other sources and you'd really dig in and really try to figure out what's going on. And like most recently in Orchid May and the rubber barons, I had no idea. I had no idea that this had happened in South America, and that was so important. And the one we're studying now, which I won't reveal yet. Fascinated by that era. And the one we're doing next year is awesome too. So anyway, So we did that. So that's enriching your mind. So sorry, those are the four
Oh
things.
no, you're good. And the did you get the?
Not the last two.
No, last year. Okay, sorry. I was just going to say that one of my goals in these letters, historically wise, is to promote self, like love of learning, for like you going and exploring it yourself. And so that's one of the things is it's like putting little gold nuggets along the way so that you can go and explore and learn for yourself, because I think that that's the most impactful learning. The stuff that stays with you the longest is that the learning that you were driven to go and discover yourself.
Yeah, like the terms that they used in there. I think like the lingo, like the kids were using, like what was it, jive or something, like
Yeah,
something.
all kinds
all
of-
those things. I think now it'd be like Riz and all that stuff, right? If we do one.
Yeah.
Still don't know what that means, but I just hear people saying Riz, and I'm like, I don't know
Right,
what
or
that
sus.
is.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're cool. I don't know.
I think it's great. It's
Fine.
like it's
their
a
lingo. It's
generations
like everyone
figuring
has
it out.
it. What was ours? I don't remember what ours were.
Oh gosh.
That's I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't
I'd
need to
have
get
to
into
go
that.
back.
Anyway, so we'll stick with our mission. Let's
Sorry,
get back on track.
tangent. There we go.
A little tangent. I'm a tangent guy. People know, like, we'll be in our leadership meetings. I'll start talking about this thing. And I'm like, what am I talking about? Why are we?
And I'll have to like bring it back home.
Bring
It's
it
good.
back. I'm like, you go off on this story or whatever, and people are like, what are you talking about?
No, it's great.
So the third is to administer relief. And because of what we witnessed through these letters that we get, the relief, that should be part of it. And so our stories, and we're not shy about this, they're safe. Yeah. We don't try to get into ambiguous or controversial subjects. We don't kill main characters. And
Definitely not.
We're not sad to say that they're happy endings.
Yeah.
And
they're stories that you can enjoy, like they're unifying stories. I feel like
so
they're
that was just
the
we got into
safe
the
part
fourth
of it.
pillar.
Yeah.
But yeah, the relief, it should be like you get this, you're reading the story and you're like, you know what to expect. There could be some cliffhangers where you're like, what's going to happen, right?
Well, and we also don't shy away from history. Like there are, like World War II
there's some
and the
hard
rubber
subjects.
barons thing. There's
hard.
heavy
Yeah.
things in there, but we try and do it in such a way that if you want to go learn more about it, you absolutely can. But we address it and then we focus on the positive of like, and that's really important, I think, because I'm not a believer in glossing over the hard things in history. I think that that's very important in order to not repeat history. But I also am a huge advocate of focusing on the positive and looking forward with a bright hope for the future to come.
Yeah, because I think that's what history should do. It should teach us, give us hope, and kind of propel us forward. But yeah, so that's the relief component. Well, that's important for us, and so everything we do, there should be a relief. It should, and if there's opportunities for us to do other things that provide relief to the world, to people, then we'll seek out to do those things as well. Then the fourth pillar, I think, is my favorite. Well, they're all great. But really, when this happens, I think it probably brings me the most joy, is uniting you with your family and friends. And so we get the letters I love the most are when
The letters that we get from you,
right,
from our subscribers,
or when whatever we do and whatever our families that have come together. Early on, I think someone wrote us and said they hadn't talked to their mother in 30 years, but she saw this and then used the flower letters as an opportunity to give her a gift, to connect with her, and to talk to her for the first time in 30 years. And that's an honor for us, honestly. But we realize we're just the means. It's people seeing the opportunity, seeing what this can do, and employing it in ways that we never anticipated. And a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, and her daughters or grandchildren across the country getting on a Zoom call and reading the letters together. giving this as a gift. It makes a really unique gift, and around Mother's Day, around Christmas, when you give the gift, for the most part, I think, it's a little bit more meaningful because it gives all year, and it's twice a month, and it's something that will last and that's unique. It's something that I've never experienced before.
And we actually just got a card yesterday where these friends, a younger friend gave it to her older friend,
Oh, yeah.
and this older friend will call this friend every time she gets a letter, and just like having that extra connection with each other, that opportunity to visit more, and like many of our subscribers they're shut in, they're away from the world for health reasons, or there's so many reasons why, but giving them an opportunity to connect with their friends and their family and their loved ones, and for the givers to be able to have something that they're excited about and that is really meaningful to give to them, that's a really awesome thing that we did not foresee coming out of this.
But then also, one thing we also didn't, we created a community, a Facebook group, which has been really fun, actually. It's been kind of see how people utilize it, but people have connected and formed book groups, right? And they go off and create their own little thing, but they met through what we're doing in that community, and we love that. I think, bringing people together, making new friends. What's better in life than connecting with someone, over a shared interest in creating a friendship that could last a lifetime. So, that's where we're at. The foot is still on the gas.
Thanks to Mikey. Mikey is the gas pedaler. I'm more of the brakes girl. Like, hold on.
Yeah,
but it's a good balance.
But our commitment is to that mission, and what we do, the joy, the enrichment, the relief and connection. Those things. That's our commitment with this podcast, with everything that we do, and we feel that it's part of our purpose in life, that it's a privilege. What a privilege we have to do this. And I'll tell you, it's not easy. I've worked in technology and fintech. I've built software programs. This is by far it's the most satisfying.
Absolutely.
business.
That's what I was going to say, is that
but it's the most complex. Yeah. It's really interesting, the mail system. You just think of across 7 stories and over 800 or 900 different pieces of inventory you've got to manage. But we have the best people, fantastic people that see the vision, see what we're doing, and
they always show up right when we need them to. That's the most awesome thing that we've seen, is the perfect person shows up right when we need them to.
And like before anything, the way that I describe the people that work with us, before I describe, they're really good at Excel and putting these things together and all these business things. They're just good people, just good hearts. They want to do good. And many of you have probably experienced that with some of our customer service people, but you just know that when we're doing this, we're doing it with people that love doing it, and we're just privileged to have them. And we're kind of inventing this as we go along, and it's a lot of fun, but it's hard, but it's so worth it. Totally. Yeah. So we'll keep going. But that's sort of our, in a nutshell.
That's our story.
If you call it a nutshell, what are we at? An hour and a half or something like that? I don't know.
Peter's taking a nap. He's like, come on, gotta wrap it up.
There's more stories to tell that we have that we hope we can share throughout this podcast. And as we bring people on, we'll be sending out a survey to try to, find the stories in our community first. I think that I'm kind of excited about that, to hear people's stories and what they've gone through. Because I think that's connection. I think we connect through stories. We learn through stories. And if we can bring what we call regular people's stories to light, as well as maybe some special guests, and you can connect through someone's shared experience, that's what we want to do. Yeah. And that should bring you joy, enrich your mind, bring you some relief, and connect you hopefully with that person. But yourself, I think connection with yourself is important as well, and understanding who you are. And go from there. So.
And I think I see it as like our world taking this to a much broader perspective, I think our world needs to connect more than ever in a positive way. And that's one of the things that when we were talking about this just the other day, that's what really resonated with me, is this opportunity to enable everyday people to tell their stories and to like show in a way we have way more in common than we don't. Like we have way more to connect over than to divide us. And so in our small way, this is kind of like, let's see what we have in common. Let's find our common ground, and let's learn to appreciate and celebrate the differences that we have and how those things come together and make us stronger and make us more vibrant and more like, just it's so much better to be like Mike and I see it in our marriage. It's so much better to have two different people with all kinds of different interests come together and share those with each other, rather than two of the same people come together and just be bored together.
Yeah.
Do you know
I've
what I mean?
learned just in business and everything, you always, in leadership, you get a better result when you have all points of view, and you can understand people, and you're seeking to understand. You're not so stubborn that this is the way it's got to be, but you're willing to listen and seek to understand it. There's just, I don't know, it just seems not be something people are willing to do. I bet we're not going to try to connect them over politics or world events.
That won't make it in.
This is human. That's how we connect. Like hope and humanity, people's experiences. I mean, because we're all different, but we feel the same things. We feel fear. We feel love. We feel, connection. We feel joy. And those are the things we can connect on. And so call us altruistic, or, but this is what we're going to do. And because we think it's good and we think it's important, but it's powerful.
Yeah. Stories are powerful.
And if we can do that and bring some more light into the world, we'll keep doing it.
Yep.
So
even if it's a little light, we're going to do it.
a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Maybe there's 2 people watching.
Maybe. Welcome
2 people. We love you.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for listening to Stories Told Through You, the Flower Letters podcast.
Got a true story you'd like to share? Email us at podcast@theflowerletters.com.
If you're new here, welcome. To learn more about us, head over to theflowerletters.com.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and help us spread these inspiring true stories. Until next time.